Now we are here from the Wildcat Sports Pub, West Genesee, kickoff special for football. Very happy to be here with you. We have offensive guard Christian Becker and head coach Joe Corley. We're going to have 3 sets, and so we will have Christian here for part number 1. We'll have 2 and 3 coming up to you on Facebook.com/LiveNowDT, and it'll be shared on Facebook.com/WakeUpCallDT, on WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage, and of course on YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT. So, I guess they were trying to give you some theme music for this year. Can we give them a round of applause once again, please, for West Genesee football? So, Coach, we'll go there again.
Yep.
We met in March.
Yep.
We talked back then. It was a very strange season to be in the snow-ish, rain-ish kind of nice weather. Now the weather's still different here in Syracuse, feels like Orlando, Florida, but to be in the real dog days and the real Friday night lights here as we head into the fall, just what that means to you.
It means a lot, Dan. Like I said earlier, football is meant to be played in the fall. The dog days of summer, August, that's preseason. That's what it's all about. The season we had in the spring, early March, it was amazing. It was something special. But this is the time of year for football, so we're so happy to be here.
You know, and you have the opportunity to have hopefully a normal year now here in 2021. Just what it's been like as opposed to what you had in that kind of abridged version a few months back. Does it feel normal again on the field? Are we kind of back into the flow of what you're used to seeing?
It feels very normal. You know, going through 2-a-days, going through double sessions, having the weeks leading up to it through the summer program. That's what it's always been about to me is the process leading up to it. And we didn't have that back in March. We had literally 3 days to get ready for a season. And it was, very unrealistic expectation, in unreasonable times. So to give these guys an opportunity to truly prepare and get ready, it means a lot.
Christian, welcome to the show. Happy to have you.
Thank you.
So, offensive line, obviously we know in Central and Upstate New York how important the offensive line is. Spoke with Aaron Service of Syracuse, and I talked with you before this, that Syracuse at one point the last 2 seasons has been last in the nation in sacks allowed, which is not a good thing. What can you say about protecting your quarterback?
It's the most important part of the job, being on an offensive line. You got to protect him with all you can. He's the one that's going to get you your points up on the board. So at the end of the day, it's really all about, getting your points up on the board, protecting the QB, making sure he can get the ball out to, our wide receivers, making sure he can, get us to where we need to be. So, it really is important at the end of the day.
You told me before the show that you like to hit and you like to move people out of the way. Just what you can say about maybe working on that technique and where you feel like you're at right now.
Being a senior year and, having it started my sophomore year, I can say I've gained a lot of experience. I've gained a lot of skill. I've gained a lot of, momentum from starting from day one to, being now starting my senior year. I can say I've learned a lot. I can say being with Coach Corley, he's made me, go from that small JV kid to now that big, captain on the team. It's been going really good so far.
You credit Coach Corley with making you better. How has he made you better?
When I was a JV or when I was going into my sophomore year, he pulled me up with the big guys. And unexpectedly, he ended up starting me with the varsity team. At that time, I didn't even think I could make it on that team. I thought I'd have to go back down to JV, but he saw something in me that a lot of the other coaches probably didn't see. And he took a shot and he ended up starting me, and we ended up having a pretty good season that year. And I think from there on, we've been doing pretty good. I've just been happy that he took that opportunity with me.
Coach, what did you see in Christian that made you put him out there so early?
Well, I find it hard to believe that he thought he'd end up on JV as a sophomore because from day one, that was the last thing that came across to me that he wanted to be, because the day we put pads on, he was coming off the ball harder than anybody we had on the team. It was how aggressive he played. You could tell he was passionate about it. He was a little bit smaller. He had a lot to learn. We were going through the ups and downs of the frustration of learning a new system, but at the end of the day, he was a competitor, and he wasn't afraid to go toe-to-toe with anybody. And it was the week of our first game against Horseheads where I looked at the staff and said, we got to make a change, and Christian belongs in this position, and every one of them agreed unanimously. So we all saw it in him, and could have fooled me if you didn't think you were going to be on varsity that year, because you came off like you wanted it.
he said that you made him better. Do you see, where have you seen him improve the most? And when he gives you that credit, what can you say about his evolution?
This year is his leadership. He's really taken the offensive line and the defensive line by the horns, and he really is. He's trying to lead that group. His fundamentals have gotten better. I mean, week after week. When you look at the sophomore that he was, how raw he was, watching his feet now, watching his hand position, all those little fine points that we teach have come along, and he's just transformed from then to now.
Christian, for you, being on the offensive line, it's a thankless job. As we're here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, on site on location at the Wildcat Sports Pub every single month with West Genesee, with our exclusive sit-down show with the coaches and the players, and we appreciate you very much. And all the families as well. Being on an offensive line in a thankless job, have you come to terms with that? Does it give you a chip on your shoulder? Because if you do your job, quarterback gets credit. You do your job, the running back gets credit. You do your job, the wide receiver gets credit. But very rarely do you hear people in the media talk about the offensive and the defensive line, which is what I'm trying to change. So what can you say about, do you have a chip, and are you okay with the fact that if you do your job, sometimes not much is said?
Yeah, like you said, with O-line not getting a lot of recognition, I definitely think that, in my experience on the varsity team, getting a lot of offensive experience on the O-line, I can definitely say that, I think they hold down the team as much as they can. They're the big underdogs on the team, and when you focus more on the wide receivers, the running backs, and they are very important, but at the end of the day, who's going to open up that gap for them? Who's going to, get them? Who's going to get the running back to where they can without, if they didn't have an O-line, then I think they'd be screwed. But I think it's been very important for our running backs, our QBs. I think it's getting moving forward up and on the field. I think it's important, and I think that's that.
So what can you say about the guys on the line with you? How would you describe the line this year?
I'd say our O-line's been really, really good so far. We have almost everybody returning. A lot of them started last season when I was in my junior year. They're doing a phenomenal job. I couldn't have been happier for how they're turning out right now. Being a lot of them starting last season was also a big change, transitioning from my sophomore year O-line to that junior year. But now that I can say that I've played with them a lot, I can say I'm very confident to be with them. I love the hard work that they put in. Every day at practice, they're really giving it. They're giving all their might on the O-line. They're working hard, and even when we make mistakes, we learn from them. So even from them, we keep moving forward.
Coach, how would you describe the offensive line this year? With Christian saying most of the guys coming back, he feels good. How do you feel?
I feel great about them because they're workhorses, Dan. And as a coach, I really try hard to put our kids in uncomfortable situations, physically uncomfortable, mentally uncomfortable, and emotionally. Sometimes I yell at them just to yell at them, so they have to feel that pressure, because they're going to feel pressure on Friday nights. They're going to feel pressure and face adversity in life, so they got to be able to handle that. And these guys just keep coming back, and they keep fighting forward. And there's not a lot of them. If you look at our team, we are very thin on the offensive and defensive line, to a point where it's almost concerning as a coach because we lack some depth. And if one kid gets hurt, that could really hurt our team, and they know that. So it's a stressful thing to go through that. But they show up every day. Their attitudes are great. They work hard, and what more could you ask for?
And for you, like you said, on the offensive and defensive line, not the depth that you necessarily would want. Championships are built from the inside out. So what are you doing to adjust, knowing that maybe you don't have as much backing up as you would maybe like?
Making the most out of the personnel we have. You try to have as few full-time two-way players as possible. You want as many bodies coming off the field as there are going on between series. There's obviously going to be some guys playing two ways, and we're trying to make sure we have rotations going, in particular on defense, so that guys are getting spelled when they need it, and we have fresh legs as much as possible.
Talked about your quarterback, and I want to go back to that, Christian. Just what you can say about, because Brady McNeil was sitting up here with me very recently, and now there is a move into a new era. What can you say about the quarterback situation? Because obviously you're directly connected and extremely important to that quarterback?
I can say that our QB right now is, he's doing a really good job. Kind of like what Coach said earlier, he's got the leadership skills, he's got the communication skills, and that's, it's something you really look for in a QB. He's also like the main, the coordinator of our offense. He's the one controlling everybody, telling them what to do, where telling them, or not really like telling them, but making sure that they're doing what they're doing, because it's all depending on him. That's the only way they're going to get the ball, through the quarterback. So I think our QB right now has got those skills, and I think it'll make for a good good offensive position for our team.
And to mention specifically, I know there's some guys battling, but just what you can say about the guys more specifically at quarterback. Just quarterback, which is what you can say about River. You were mentioning before. Yeah, what can you say about his talents, where he's at this point?
At this point, he's definitely gotten more comfortable with our team. Last year with Braden, him transitioning out and putting him in, it took a little time for him to get adjusted, but, it didn't take that long. He got easily adjusted to our team. He got easily adjusted to our O-line, our receivers, and I think he's going to make for a good quarterback in the upcoming fall season.
Coach, you talked about the fact that there is some competition there. What can you say about it?
The word I was looking for earlier was anoint, and you never want to anoint a kid anything. And if we have two talented quarterbacks, and they may have their own separate skill set, but you want to make sure you're giving both kids an opportunity to showcase it and prove why they are or are not the best fit for our team. Because once you anoint a kid, he's lost that edge to compete and get better. And we never want our kids to be content or complacent. So it's going to be a competition. It is a competition. I will say publicly in front of all these guys that River is in the lead right now, but anything can happen between now and September 3rd. And it could be River or Vinny under center. We want what's best for our team, and so do they.
Skill set wise, what can you say about River and Vinny?
I would say that Vinny has the arm strength. I would say River has the better control of his ball, of his throw. He puts the ball on the mark, whereas Vinny has the ability to go downfield. Both are important. Both are valuable. I would say the difference right now is that River's a senior and he wants us to be his team, and he's taking control of his offense.
We've heard Dino Babers say this week he's going to play two. Would you ever look at playing two quarterbacks?
I think I'd be negligent not to. If they each have something to offer the team, then I'd be letting my guys down if we didn't find a way to make it work.
Fair enough. Christian, blocking for two different quarterbacks, two different skill sets, what would that mean to you?
It really doesn't change much for me. They're still my quarterback. It doesn't matter who's at that position. At the end of the day, I got to protect them with all I can. So even if Rivers in, even if Vinny's in, it really doesn't change anything. I still got to, make sure they don't get sacked by the, defensive tackle. Or, I got to make sure that, I got to make sure that in the long game that they're protected, all through round. But yeah.
They say that offensive and defensive linemen more than anybody else on the team can eat. So, would you say that that's fair? And who do you think could win in a straight-up contest between you and the rest of the O-line?
I'm a big eater personally, so I'd say everybody can pack on some, can eat a lot, So that'd be a tough competition to account for. But
who would be the best competitor against you?
Definitely have to say Taekwon.
Taekwon, okay, fair enough.
Hasn't seen us eat yet.
Yeah. Coach, who do you think could take down an eating contest? And I'm asking because with the American Athletic Conference, when I've been out to Rhode Island, they would give us lobster tail. And these guys would literally try to down 10 to 12 full lobsters, not just the tail, but everything. So if your guys were having a contest right now, who would you put your money on?
Me. All day. You ever seen me and him eat before?
Okay.
Yeah, me and him have slaughtered dozens of chickens in one sitting. Are you kidding me? Right, Coach? Never mind.
Talking about your ability to eat.
Our ability.
Yeah. Your united ability to eat, that you could together beat anybody on the team.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
All right, fair enough.
Eat your pizza. Save me a slice.
Joe Corley here with Christian Becker, offensive guard. Myself, Dan Tortora. Wake Up Call is here with you every single month at the Wildcat Sports Pub, exclusively when it comes to West Genesee Wildcats athletic programs. We're doing the football kickoff special today. We have 3 parts, but before we get out of part number 1, rapid fire. So, That's going to be me putting them on the hot seat and then putting me on the hot seat. Coach, I'm going to start with you.
Here we go.
My first one of the season for you, I would say, all right, what color best describes your personality and why?
Gray, because I would say I go with anything and anybody.
Okay.
I try to be that guy. I don't, I don't have a set personality. I try to get along with people. Yeah.
All right, great. I like it. Interesting answer. What's your first one for me?
Is a hot dog a sandwich? This was an argument with my son and I. My son's 9. We got into a pretty big fight, by the way. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No. It's not a sandwich because a sandwich is 2 pieces of bread. A hot dog is one and it's folded sideways and the bun is different. It's a bun, it's bread, but it's not a bun. Or it is a bun, it's not, you know what I mean. There's bread and there's a bun, so it's not a sandwich.
If my wife brings him here after, will you tell him that?
I will, gladly. You know what I found out is that anybody that's like in their 30s or older would say it's not a sandwich. But children say that it is. I don't know why. It's like it's a gap. It's like Michael Jordan versus LeBron James. People think that LeBron's the best because that's who they watch play, but obviously it's clearly Michael Jordan.
They just don't know any better. It's Michael Jordan.
Yeah, obviously. All right, Christian. My first one for you. All right, let's keep with food. You can pick one breakfast, one lunch, one dinner for the rest of your life. You got to eat every day. What do you have for breakfast? What do you have for lunch? And what do you have for dinner?
Well, for breakfast, I would say it has to be like a sausage McMuffin. Those things just go down so easily. I can eat a ton of those. So for breakfast, I definitely say, a McMuffin sandwich. For lunchtime, definitely have to say some like chicken tenders.
Okay.
Some chicken tenders with some honey mustard. You can never go wrong for like a little lunchtime meal. And then for dinner, I gotta go like old Italian style and say chicken parmesan. I can down those very easily, and they're so good.
So chicken for 2/3 of the day. Not bad. All right, I'm good with that. What's your first one for me?
If you had to pick 3 favorite movies of all time, what would they be and why?
Oh, wow. I have so many movies I like. I would say Mrs. Doubtfire because I love Robin Williams. And I think it was one of the first movies I ever saw because I was very young. So I want to say Mrs. Doubtfire. I'll put that on the list. Rest in peace, Robin. I would say Remember the Titans because for some odd reason I feel like the world just needs to watch that movie about 17 more times and figure it out. But it's amazing how people on a field, I think I said this last year, that if we treated the world like a huddle on a football field, we would all get along with all different colors, backgrounds, religions, shapes, and sizes if we could just do what we do on fields and courts. Because when you're forced to be a team, somehow people work together, and I wish we could do that all the time. So I'll say Remember the Titans. And I would say, I got to go with my favorite superhero of all time, and I was in The Amazing Spider-Man 2 as an extra, and that was really cool. I actually made it in the movie, which was fun. And if the Marvel Cinematic Universe actually converges on all the Spider-Verse, technically, I'm in the MCU. So I'm going to say the original Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire because Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin legitimately made me jump and kept me up at night. So I think Willem Dafoe is terrifying as the Green Goblin, and supposedly he's coming back in the new Spider-Man movie, No Way Home. So I'm excited about that. This is like, almost 20 years since he had the role the first time. So I'll say Spider-Man the original. Coach, we've talked about a lot over the years.
We have.
What would you consider to be your single greatest accomplishment in life?
Being Coach Manipole's best friend. No, seriously, that's my answer. My son, he's starting to grow into a miniature version of myself, which is in a lot of ways it's karma for being rotten as a kid myself. But I'm seeing so many of my qualities in him, and he just seems so happy with his life. And now that he's playing football and seeing him kind of following my footsteps and want to be around my practices, just means a lot to me.
That's awesome. I'll give him a big time shout out. To see him do that though, that's really.
Still has no idea what a hot dog is, so we got to.
Yeah, it's little battles. You have to pick and choose. He's playing football. He doesn't know what a hot dog is. We'll figure it out. What's your last one for me for this set?
All right, if you could start a conspiracy, what would it be?
There's too many that are real. If I could start a conspiracy. Wow. You've asked me a question that I think you're giving me in a lot of trouble. If I could start a conspiracy, you know what? I would say, I don't know where I want to go with this. I don't know where I want to go. You know what? I would do it just to do it. Some people just follow. It's amazing to me what I've learned in 35 years that there is enough people in this world that will literally follow you off a cliff if you tell them to go.
Yep.
So I would tell people that you could cure, I would say, I don't know, something ridiculous. Like, you could cure the flu by wearing a chicken suit. And I think everybody on Amazon would buy out chicken suits in America. So I'm going to say something like that. I've seen so much stuff on social media. It makes me sad. It really does make me sad. So I would say that chicken suits could solve the world. And I know unfortunately people would buy them up, and that would probably make me even more sad that conspiracy worked.
So let's start the conspiracy with buy stock in chicken suits and roll right off into the sunset.
Yeah, man, I'm going to do it now. You know what? It's supply and demand, so we'll make sure that we jack up those prices. All right, Christian. Gosh darn, that was a tough question. So many places I was going to go. So thank goodness I have a show 5 days a week. Maybe I'll go to other places. So, Christian, who would you say is your favorite person in the world, and why?
I gotta say my dad. You know, I mean, he pushes me to do well every day. I mean, he sees something good in me that, you know, maybe other people may not be able to see, and, you know, for him to have that, you know, that kind of vision in me, you know, that other people can't see. You know, I'm very grateful that I have him to, you know, inspire me and to, you know, just do my best in the real world. You know.
Can we shout out Dad? What's Dad's first name?
Dan.
Dan. That's a good first name. It's the best first name. So shout out to Dad. Yep. And I saw that someone gave him a little makeshift tissue there so he could have it. Is that right? So what's your one for me? Your last one for me.
If you could have one dream car that you have to drive for the rest of your life, what car would it be and why?
You know, I've answered this differently at different times in my life. But one of the ones that I want, because I want the doors that fly up like the DeLorean, is I want a Tesla. I want a Tesla with those doors. I want a steel gray Tesla because my goatee is a little ode to Tony Stark, aka Iron Man. So I need a Stark type of car. So I'm gonna ask for a Tesla, is what I'll say. With that being said, Christian Becker, Joe Corley, myself, Dan Tortora, Wake Up Call is here with you every month. This is the kickoff for West Genesee's football season. We got 2 more parts to go, but I want a round of applause for these 2 first. We'll be back right after this from the Wildcat.